Welcome to G3, Games, Gadgets, and Guests, an audio and video podcast from 702 Communications. I'm your host, Brian Crommett. I've got a gadget episode for you today, and it's an exciting gadget episode because last week I got my hands on one of the new Apple HomePods. There's two here actually, just to show you. But today we're going to give you a really quick look at my first impression of this piece of technology. So we've all known that Apple was working on the home speaker to compete with Alexa and Google for some time now. And we also knew that they were really going to work on the sound aspect of it. They really wanted to make a really good speaker. So the question is, did they succeed? So the first thing you're going to do when you take this out of the box is you're going to set it up. And setup really couldn't be easier. You take it out of the box, you plug it in, you bring your iOS device close to it. You can use your iPhone, you can use your iPad, and it's super simple to set up. You just bring your iOS device near it, it'll show up on the screen that there's a new HomePod that wants to be configured. It'll ask you what you want to name it. It'll ask you if you want to enable notifications, and that's it. You're pretty much ready to use your HomePod. It's that easy. The first thing you're going to do after you're done setting it up is, well, you're going to want to listen to some music. So, hey Siri, play me some music.
Okay, let's get going with some Sarah Bareilles.
That's a great choice, actually. Hey Siri, stop. That just shows you a little bit of the bass response. And I can't play more than that because I don't need a copyright lawsuit. But if you're used to the sound of the Echo or the Google Home, the sound that you get out of this really is jaw-dropping. Even compared to the UE Boom that I reviewed some time ago and I really loved. I mean, this Apple HomePod sounds good. The bass response is really impressive, especially for a speaker this size. The technology that goes into the sound production, I could talk about that for more minutes than I have to give you in this quick review, so I'm not going to. But it's really impressive what they've put into this HomePod to make it sound really good. So how's the home automation portion of this? Guys, I have no idea, because when you bring it up in my home, none of the home automation stuff I have shows up as manageable by HomeKit. So home automation works badly for me, but for answering basic questions, it's fine. I haven't had it long enough to really put it through its paces, but we're still in the getting to know each other phase. I've also heard some complaining about how Apple made it really this walled garden that you can only use Apple Music with it. And sure, if you want to talk about using the voice controls to their fullest extent, if you don't have an iTunes library at all, it's going to have a little less functionality, sure. But the truth is, you can listen to Spotify on your HomePod. You just have to bring it up on your phone or on your iPad and then select to AirPlay to the device. So it doesn't have all the functionality, granted, but it does play. So it's not that walled garden thing. Weirdest flaw so far, if you haven't heard about it, StainGate. Don't put your HomePod on an expensive wooden table, especially if it's just oiled, because it's been leaving a weird white ring that may or may not come off. I've had mine on the kitchen counter at home ever since I got it, so this hasn't been a big deal for me. But if I had put it on any of my wife's beloved mid-century furniture, this would be a totally different review right now. So, bottom line, did Apple succeed with their speaker? I'm gonna worm my way out of a vote on that because it really depends on how you measure the success. If you want good sound, it's a fantastic sounding speaker for its size. It's at least, in my home, as useless for home automation as Google was when it first launched, but over the course of the next year, Google made leaps and bounds. So we'll see what Apple does in the same time. So for me, if you don't already have hundreds or thousands of dollars invested in home audio, the HomePod definitely has a place in your home. Or you could have 2 or 3 of them, and you could load them up and play synchronized music in all the rooms of the house, and it would sound great, and you'd love it. So, end of the day, it's all in what you use it for. It is an impressive piece of technology for sure. Like I say, time will tell if the tech will stack up functionally so that it really can compete against the Echo or the Google Home. Right now, it kind of stands by itself in between the two. It's a really good speaker that doesn't have the functionality, but maybe someday it will beat both competitors in both spaces. So that's just a really, really quick look at the HomePod. We're going to do a more in-depth review coming up here. We expect to check on back as that functionality improves. I'll be really interested to see what happens. So that's it. That's the really quick look. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please, as always, tell your friends about it. And remember that we're everywhere you need us to be. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. Look for us, follow us, subscribe, like us. And until next time, I'm Brian Cromit. This is G3. Game on.